I've been having these weird thoughts lately.
Do you remember the exact day your childhood ended? Probably not. But Kingdom Hearts builds an entire prologue around that moment. There is a moment in everyone's life when childhood ends. Most of us never realize when that moment happens. Years later, we look back and understand that there was a final summer, a final ordinary day, a final moment when the world still felt permanent. At the beginning of Kingdom Hearts, Sora, Riku, and Kairi are living through that moment without knowing it. They spend their days racing each other, joking, dreaming about distant worlds, and building a raft to cross the ocean beyond the horizon. To them, Destiny Islands is simply home, a place they believe will always be there. But growing up sometimes means losing the place you wanted to return to. And that is where Kingdom Hearts truly begins. When we first arrive in Destiny Islands, nothing feels urgent. Sora spends his days racing his friends, collecting supplies, exploring familiar places, and talking about the future as if there will always be time to reach it. Everything about Destiny Islands feels permanent, and that's what makes it feel like childhood. Childhood is often remembered as a period of safety and simplicity, but one of its most important characteristics is the belief that things will stay the way they are forever. The people around us will always be there. Home will always be there. The life we know will always be waiting for us. Sora still believes this, but Kingdom Hearts quietly shows us that something has already started to change. Riku constantly talks about leaving the island. He wants to know what exists beyond the horizon. He jokes about Sora's feelings for Kairi. He challenges Sora, provokes him, and pushes every conversation toward the future. These moments are easy to dismiss as ordinary conversations between friends, but they reveal something important. The three of them are no longer children in the way they used to be. Their relationships are changing. Their interests are changing. The future has started to occupy a place that childhood normally reserves for the present. Without realizing it, they have already begun the process of leaving Destiny Islands behind. The raft is one of the most important objects in Kingdom Hearts. On the surface, its purpose is simple. Sora, Riku, and Kairi want to leave Destiny Islands and discover what exists beyond the horizon. But children rarely think about leaving home. They imagine adventures, but they also assume that home will still be there when those adventures are over. The raft is different. Building it requires Sora, Riku, and Kairi to acknowledge something they have never had to confront before. Their world is no longer enough. For the first time in their lives, they are preparing for a future that exists somewhere else. This is why so much of their time on Destiny Islands is spent gathering materials, making plans, and talking about what comes next. The raft itself almost becomes secondary. What matters is the decision behind it. They have already begun to detach themselves from the life they have always known, and what makes these moments so effective is that none of them understand the weight of that decision. To them, this is an adventure. But we rarely recognize the moments that divide our lives into a before and an after. Only later do we understand that there was a point where staying stopped being an option. For Sora, Riku, and Kairi, that point is the raft. Of the three friends, Riku is the one who seems most aware that their lives are changing. He talks about the outside world more than anyone else. He is the one who pushes the idea of leaving Destiny Islands. He constantly challenges Sora, both physically and emotionally. At first, this can look like confidence, but there is also impatience. Riku has already begun to feel something that Sora still hasn't fully understood. Childhood is temporary. This becomes clear in the way he talks about Kairi. He repeatedly teases Sora about his feelings for her, turning something that once belonged to the simplicity of childhood friendship into something more complicated. The joke itself is not important. What matters is what the joke reveals. The relationship between the three of them is changing. They are becoming aware of themselves and of each other in new ways. The dynamic that defined their childhood is beginning to disappear. Riku seems to recognize this before anyone else. His desire to leave Destiny Islands does not come from rejecting it. In many ways, it comes from understanding that he cannot stay there forever. At some point, many of us realize that the places that made us who we are can no longer contain the people we are becoming. And while Sora still believes that tomorrow will look like today, Riku has already started looking beyond the horizon. They spend their final days in Destiny Islands preparing for a journey. They gather supplies, build their raft, and talk about the world beyond the horizon. For them, the future is something they have chosen. They believe that when they are ready, they will leave together. But they never get that chance. On the night before their departure, Destiny Islands is consumed by darkness. There is no journey. There is no farewell. There is no opportunity to stop and understand that this is the last time they will ever experience their world as it was. One moment, Destiny Islands is home. The next, it is gone. This is what gives the opening of Kingdom Hearts its emotional weight. Sora, Riku, and Kairi believe they are standing at the beginning of an adventure. Instead, they are experiencing the end of a chapter of their lives that they didn't realize was ending. And perhaps that is why Destiny Islands remains so memorable. Because it is the last place where Sora was allowed to be a child. When Sora arrives in Traverse Town, he has lost everything that defined his life. Destiny Islands is gone. Riku is gone. Kairi is gone. And yet, Sora's first instinct is not to accept that loss. It is to search for them. Sora begins his journey because the life he knew has disappeared. The future that he, Riku, and Kairi imagined for themselves never happens. They never leave Destiny Islands together. They never experience the journey they spent so much time preparing for. Instead, they are separated and forced onto different paths. Looking back, it becomes difficult not to see Destiny Islands as more than just the opening location of Kingdom Hearts. It represents a moment in life that cannot be preserved. Because growing up sometimes means losing the place you wanted to return to. Most of the time, it doesn't happen in a clear moment. It happens in small days that feel normal while they are happening. Conversations that seem ordinary. Plans that feel certain. Time spent with people you assume will still be there later. Sora never knows that the days on Destiny Islands are the last ones where everything still fits together. There is no warning for when that changes. No control over when it ends or how it ends. One moment, it is just childhood. The next, it is already gone.